Formula 1 arrived at Marina Bay with one team very unhappy with one of their drivers, that being Audi. Audi unfortunately were left angry after Charles Leclerc's social media account earlier this week. Leclerc specifically liked an Instagram post from a fan that was calling out Audi's project pathetic. Now, this really kind of annoyed Audi that Leclerc was not only, on social media looking at all these things, but in fact physically liking them, showing that he also agrees with Audi's issues with their own projects, and it's something that Audi have had to deal with internally with Charles Leclerc. But that's not the end of the matter. Now, something that Audi were not commenting on, which a lot of fans actually noticed, is within the Instagram post that Leclerc actually liked, whilst it was calling out Audi for their failed projects, their, all the other things that were going on within the team itself, at the very end of that, they specifically put that Charles Leclerc deserves better and definitely needs to leave the team to be more successful. Now, that's what the fans were looking at. Obviously, were the teams looking at the same thing? Not too sure. But the fact that Leclerc liked that with that piece at the end just added a little bit more into this story. Moving to the action on the track, and it was Mercedes that were fastest in practice, specifically in the hands of Tom, who's always been super quick around the Singapore Grand Prix circuit, and something that all the teams are definitely looking out for. However, that may be the case in the dry, but is that going to be the case if it's going to get wet? Because the rest of the weekend is very much bringing up a chance of thunderstorms. Now, of course, with Singapore, you can just get a thunderstorm at any moment in point. It's completely random, and it's something that the teams are looking out for because there is a lot stronger of a possibility this time around. Now, BMW are actually looking quite quick around Marina Bay, specifically in Sector 1. It seems that the BMW has got very good straight line speed in the first sector, and it's really helping them out in that area. They are actually, however, losing a lot of time in Sector 2. They're gaining a little bit back in the third sector, but that's where they're definitely looking at their strongest. Now, front tyre temperatures are causing issues for all the teams on the track, and this is something that they're going to have to manage with their setup, as it's really having an effect. And finally, Audi are also looking strong around the streets of Singapore. This could be the opportunity for them to gain some well-needed points in the Constructors' Championship, as they're still in that fight with Renault, Jaguar and BMW. But let's get straight onto the track for qualifying and the race for the Singapore Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Foxydude here. Welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. It is the Singapore Grand Prix. If you guys end up enjoying today's video, feel free to drop out a like, and if you're new around here as well, be sure to click that subscribe button, as it goes a long way for myself. And as you can see, we're here in a wet Singapore Grand Prix qualifying, the first time in season number 11 that we've got some wet weather. And of course, there was chances of thunderstorms this weekend, and we've got them in abundance here in qualifying. As you can see, going through on our first flying lap here now, going a little bit deep into that chicane, but as we go on to the start-finish straight now here, you can see that we're just having to tantalizingly just edge our way around the track here, and we cross the start-finish line. It is actually the fastest lap of the session, but what you'll soon see in just a moment is that we're now on the intermediate tyres at the very end here of the session, because the track now is drying up dramatically here as we go a little bit wide here. Very flustered by the BMW there that was just in front of us, also going a little bit wide now as we go through this nice long stretch here of straight line rather than just corners underneath the grandstands. Braking hard now into the final proper corner, really, the chicane here. But we're purple in the first sector. We've gone purple again in the middle sector. So will this be enough here to get pole? We go a little bit wide there through the final corner, but it's pole position regardless. Okay, so we're on the grid here for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. It's going to be a one-stop strategy for us here today. It's going to be the mediums to the hard compound tyres. There's no forecast for rain here in this race, so we'll have to just see how we get on. But as we are on the grid then, we've got the 5 red lights here for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. The lights are out and away we go. It's a good start from us off the line there. A little bit of wheel spin in the secondary phase, but just enough there to cover off Valtteri Bottas. Going in towards turn 1, we can claim the apex into the first corner and get through these first 3 corners with absolutely no problems whatsoever. Getting onto the ERS as quickly as possible now as we make our way towards the end of this first sector already. It's a very short first sector actually of the lap now as we make our way down towards Raffles Boulevard here, just getting onto the power now. But as you can see here, Bottas is coming at us very quickly here. We're going to have to defend the inside line. Bottas round the outside. It's a bold start for Bottas. Not enough though to get us on that occasion, but an early warning sign there of Valtteri Bottas' intent here on the start of this race. And we now need to press on in this Grand Prix, but already we're under pressure from the Red Bull. But now in towards the middle sector, this is where we actually are at our weakest. It was the first sector that we were our quickest. So to see the fact that the Red Bull was right onto the back of us instantly in that first sector is quite a worry, because of course with the wet quali and this obviously dry race, as we go wide there into the hairpin, Bottas has a little look there up the inside. We're trying to adjust because we haven't done any running in the dry. We've just done our running in the wet. So right now, obviously, these AIs are fully up to speed with what they're doing. As for me, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. As you can quite clearly see, as we now go through the new section of the circuit. And as you can see, Bottas is just a little bit further back now. So we're settling ourselves down in nicely. But we've got a hybrid of a setup right now. I had to set up a little bit of the car to work well in the wet. And I also had to set up the car to work in the dry, because it actually told me that it was going to be a wet race, and I've been lied to. So, unfortunately, we're kind of compromised right now, and you can see that there, because Bottas is definitely quicker in a straight line than what we are. Let's have a look at the start, though, and see who were the winners and the losers of that race start. So, as you can see, like I said, we got a little bit of wheel spin off the line, but the secondary phase definitely worked in our favour. We're able to claim the inside line in towards the first corner. Our job done for us on that occasion, and we're absolutely fine. This is on board with George Russell now, so this is Russell's start here. He gets past Carlos Sainz quite quickly off the line there, and now he's having a look here at Oscar Piastri in towards the first corner. So he's going to go around the outside here in towards turns 1 and 2 and 3, but it's just not enough. Piastri's got the run there, and he's able to defend against that move. And this is on board then with Max Verstappen here on the start. So he again doesn't quite get the greatest of launches, but the fact that the Porsche car, I believe, of Carlos Sainz compromised the Audi there of Charles Leclerc, it just allows Verstappen to just ease his way past there. Norris also passing Sainz. Sainz not with a good start in the slightest. Lap 3 of the Grand Prix, DRS is enabled for everybody apart from myself and Verstappen, and Piastri is going to say thank you very much to that here. That Aston Martin is flying in the opening phases of this Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri goes into second place and passes Valtteri Bottas in the early phases of this Grand Prix. And on lap 4 now to start lap 5, Piastri's not done there. He wants to go for the lead of this Singapore Grand Prix, but if he's going to do that, he's going to have to get past me. But my straight line speed is now becoming a big problem here. Piastri, oh, that was close there. There's some contact as we defend very late, going in towards the first corner to claim the inside line. Piastri's still there, though, on the outside, but we just about hold off the Aston driver there. But this is really hard-fought racing already to start things off, as we're under some big pressure now in these opening few laps here of this Grand Prix. These guys are pumped up for a race here, and so am I, but I don't have the straight line speed to really fight with it. Here comes Piastri again to the outside, but we've got enough just on the brakes there to hold off against Oscar Piastri, and we're going to have to use that here. With the more downforce that we got on the car, we can just be a little bit better on the brakes into some of these heavy corners. But unfortunately, if I could have, I would have put less wing on the car, but hey, you make those errors, and it doesn't work out. Well, that's not quite the way to go around that corner there. A little bit of understeer going in towards down the straight here towards Raffles Boulevard. Piastri back on our tails once again. Wants that inside line. We're not going to give him that inside line. He has to go around the outside if he wants to make this one stick, and we can just force him wide there. And Bottas now can try and deal with him if possible. Unfortunately, Bottas will not deal with him because he's not near him enough to go for an attack there. Although in hindsight, I'd probably want Piastri behind me more than I'd want Bottas, really. But regardless, I just want the lead still. And right now, Piastri and Bottas don't want me to have that lead. So we press onwards here onto the start-finish straight now. Here comes the DRS once again from Oscar Piastri. He's going to go for it here in towards turn 1. He's caught me out a little bit there. A lot of straight line speed that I didn't anticipate that he'd have there. But we have enough under braking to defend the position. And right now, my best friend in my brakes. Because right now, that's the only thing that's keeping me in front of these drivers right now, is the fact that I can just brake that much later than these guys here. But down the straight here again towards Raffles, you can see here that Piastri is right in the slipstream now. He's going to try for that inside line. We're not going to give him that inside line. He's going to have to do what he's been trying to do all race long, and it's not going to work because we're going to force him out wide onto the exit of Raffles Boulevard. And that is a lovely piece of defending now on lap 7. But but you can see right now that we're just holding up everybody in these opening phases of this Grand Prix. We go on to lap 8 here to start lap 9. Both drivers with DRS here, but Bottas now fancies a run here at Piastri, going towards turn 1. Piastri has to shut the DRS a little bit earlier than he would have liked to there, because he was boxed in by myself and all of that here. But now, as they're fighting through turns 1, 2, and 3, this is good for us now in this Grand Prix, because it just gives us a tiny little margin to basically relax and calm down here. But again, we're just going a little bit wide there, but we've got a yellow flag there for one of the drivers in the background there, and they're pulling over to the side. You can see them pulling over into Raffles. That's going to be one of the Porsche cars, because I can remember the colour, and it's obviously not Pierre Gasly, because we don't have names mods. But unfortunately, it is my cousin Reese that's had an engine failure, and he is out of the Singapore Grand Prix. He had a disappointing qualifying due to the wet weather conditions. A lot of drivers actually had disappointing qualifying due to the wet weather conditions. And unfortunately for Reese, his progress back up through the field has completely been thwarted by his engine. But back onto us now, lap 10 of this Grand Prix, and you can see we're just got a nice little love kiss there of going towards the back straight here. And here comes Oscar Piastri. It's been a couple of laps now for him to have a go, but this time he's going to try it down the inside, because we left the door open there stupidly towards that inside line. But actually, once again, my best friend's on my brakes, and we're able to just outbrake him and then swoop round the outside into the Raffles Boulevard section. And now we can press onwards here as we go down onto the new straight here. And as you can see, Piastri is very much attacking us. But there you can see is our biggest issue right now, our front tyre temperatures. As Piastri's going to go for it into the chicane. But again, we could just brake later than Oscar. But that's actually really put Oscar Piastri quite badly off of his mojo here, because all of a sudden now he's gone from being the attacker to being a heavy defender, because look how much time that Piastri has lost from just not able to get that move stuck there. Bottas trying to go around the outside, but Piastri is having absolutely none of that going in towards turns 1, 2 and 3, and he's going to have to wait for the back straight down towards Raffles to try and make a move here on Oscar Piastri. But this has put Bottas in fine potential here to get this move done and to get back into second place that he lost early in this Grand Prix. For us though, we're going to get a lap here of just calming ourselves down a little bit and being not being under pressure here. But someone that is under massive pressure is Piastri. He tries to cover up Bottas, just like we've been doing to Piastri all race long, but Bottas is going to brave it to the inside line. But Piastri, in fairness to him, around the outside there, is able to defend the position, and he holds on to second place. But lap 12 of this Grand Prix, Piastri has not been able to get back into DRS of me, and that's going to allow Bottas here to go to the outside line here, break nice and late, and he's done exactly what Oscar Piastri couldn't do to me in the opening phases of the Grand Prix, get the overtake done, crucially around the outside. So there you can see his job done. Meanwhile, at the back of the field, championship contenders Sam and Lewis Hamilton, my teammate, are fighting hard here over, well, basically last at the moment, because these two also got heavily hurt by the wet weather in qualifying and had to start right at the back here. But for Sam though, he's actually got that job nicely done there. But for Lewis Hamilton, he's really struggling. You can just see through those two corners how much time he lost in all of that here. Lap 15 of the Grand Prix though, we've been pressing onwards in this race. Bottas is now right on the back of us here, and we're pulling away now from Piastri, who's getting caught by George Russell in the mix of it. But Bottas now is going to go to the outside. He's going to do what he did to Piastri and to myself here, but we're going to go for it now. Heavy on the brakes there, defending really hard against Bottas, and we just hold on here in this Singapore Grand Prix. But just cutting back a few laps or so ago, as we're going into our pit window now here, when Piastri was trying to go for it down the inside before he then obviously got overtaken by Bottas, you would have seen there, speaking of Bottas, he's trying to go for it in towards the Padang Grandstand area, but not on that occasion, no thank you. And now as we go over the bridge, we are struggling massively here with front tyre temperature issues. You saw that we were on 112, 113 degrees, and well, that's your consequence there. You're just struggling with horrific understeer in the car. And what I noticed is I definitely got the setup completely wrong. We're going to adjust it in this pit window now that we're coming in for. So basically, for this race, I'm running 45 front and rear wing. And you can see there that I'm going to cut down the front downforce down to 41. I still have to suffer with 45 rear wing. I can't change that, but I'm going to drop it down to 41 on the front there and just get a little bit less pointy on the turn in. Also, by reducing the front wing angle, or whatever they want to say it is actually going to give us a little bit more top end speed as well. So if anybody's going to come and start attacking us down the straight, we've got 4 clicks less of front wing as we get held in the pits here ever so slightly. Is that going to be enough to give Bottas an opportunity? No, it doesn't. So that was a bit of a heart-in-the-mouth moment there, because if Bottas got past me, I would have been fuming. But as I was trying to say, the fact that we've got 4 clicks less of front wing, it does mean now on all the straights on this circuit, which there are a lot more now, considering that the final sector has been readjusted, it does mean that we're in good contention to defend on the straights. As we come out of the exit of the pits now, and all of a sudden here, what looks could be rosy, I've now got a red Ferrari right behind me. Lando Norris here, he pitted 1 lap earlier than myself and also Bottas. He's undercut Bottas. Now he's got the DRS here, and now he's going for an attack on me. So as I was trying about to say, that we've got a little bit of an advantage to work with, not quite here, because here comes Norris around the outside, but once again, just like we did against Valtteri Bottas on the lap before our pit window, brakes are my best friends, and we're able to defend the position there. But wow, that undercut was a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be here. We're on board now with Carlos Sainz here, who's made up some progress here. Oscar Piastri is one man that's definitely suffered in all of that pit window. Crucially, any drivers that pitted even a lap earlier than anybody else around this circuit got a massive undercut, and it completely caught me out. But crucially now, Norris is second, Bottas down to third here. On board now with the Jaguar here of Callum Ilott that's trying to go for it down the inside here of Stoffel Vandoorne in the BMW. Around the outside for Vandoorne. Can he hold this one into turn 3? You bet he can. Job done there for Vandoorne. He's going to stay ahead, and you can see there, look at the traction that Vandoorne got at the exit of turn 3. And now onto the start, onto the back straight here. George Russell just in the foreground there. Here comes Callum Ilott though for another run here at Vandoorne. He's trying to go to the inside line, but Vandoorne covers that one off nicely. Great defending actually, just all round there from Vandoorne. No way through for Callum Ilott. He's going to have to try again, and 1 lap later, he is going to try for it again here. You can see here, he's going to go to the inside line, and we've got his teammate, Mason Wood, Vandoorne, behind all of this fight. Then it's Sam, and then it's also Perez, I believe, and also Ricciardo. They're all in the mix here to try and get involved in this scrap. This is for the points as well, by the way. So this is really, really big stuff here for these two teams, because Jaguar and BMW, remember, they've not scored a point yet in this season. So anything that they can try and get is absolutely crucial in this Grand Prix. Ilott's going to go for it again down towards Raffles, but he can't get around that outside. Vandoorne is able to hold this one off very nicely. Should we go for third time lucky though? Let's see if we can do that then. For Callum Ilott's sake here, he gets the DRS here. He's going to go down the straight now in towards turn 1. There's wheel-to-wheel contact there between Ilott and Vandoorne. They're really going for it, this pair now, as they go down in towards turns 3. And I think for Ilott, he might just have this one. No, Vandoorne with another great exit there out of turn 3. But this time around now, Ilott's going to hold it around the outside. Which one of them's going to get DRS? None of them's going to get it now. So down the back straight here, they're going to be under huge pressure now as Mason Woods here has overtaken his teammate Vandoorne. He's going to go to the outside line here and try and get past Ilott. He's got past Ilott as well. What a double overtake there from Mason Woods. He's got past Vandoorne. He's got past Ilott. That's going to really annoy Callum Ilott. He's finally got past Vandoorne, but he's not able to get himself past the other BMW because he got passed by him. Meanwhile, Ricciardo passes Sam, who's getting stuck in the background there. Now all of a sudden Perez, who is attacking Sam, is under pressure from Pourchaire. Pourchaire now can't get that move done on Perez. De Vries wants to have a look at Theo Pourchaire. Nick De Vries can't get that move done on Theo Pourchaire. But what a fight those guys are having there. And they're just going to keep going on and on and on. But lap 21 of the Grand Prix now. Carlos Sainz here defending heavily against Oscar Piastri. Piastri, though, has been given the opportunity to go to the inside. He breaks nice and late here. Can Sainz hold this one off? Going in towards the exit of Raffles? Yes, he can. Job done there for Carlos Sainz. He defends the position, and he can go on his way. A little bit further back from that trio of cars is Pato O'Ward in the Jaguar, who's having a cracking race right now, under pressure from George Russell. The two former I'd say two former teammates, the two drivers that were both in each other's cars last season, are fighting it out, and it's Russell that comes out on top. Nice move around the outside there, but for O'Ward, though, he's having a great race, and you can see that he's still holding on there in his place, which is still in the points. As for the fight up front here between Sainz and also Piastri, it's gone Piastri's way. Finally, he's got his man on that occasion. Lap 26 of the Grand Prix, though, we've got a little bit of a red flag. So there's an issue going on, and you can see there that one of the drivers has pulled off at the exit of turn 3, and it's the second Porsche car that is out of this Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz, who was fighting hard in the top end of the points, is going to get nothing, and it's a double DNF for Porsche here today. Reese was out with an engine failure. Carlos Sainz is out with a mechanical issue. But as we go on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, it has flown by in the second half of this race. Myself and Bottas have been in a complete league of our own. But ever since we got defended against Lando Norris, Bottas couldn't get into our DRS. We're going to round the final corner. And for the first time since round number 1 in Bahrain, we win the Singapore Grand Prix. And we have led pretty much every single lap. In fact, I think we had led every single lap of this Grand Prix. And it was pretty dominant, actually. Very dominant indeed. We come across the line to win the Singapore Grand Prix. Not only that, we were able to achieve the fastest lap as well. I think that might be, I can't remember the last time that I've had a Grand Slam in Singapore, not in Singapore, but just ever. Because we got the pole position, we got the fastest lap, we led every single lap, and we won. So we take that. Bottas, in the end, finishes 0.8 of a second back. Basically, you wouldn't have seen it because we were just focusing on the other fights going on throughout the rest of the grid. But once I pitted for the hard compound tyres, I obviously defended against Lando Norris. Norris eventually then started to drop off a little bit, and I managed to pull in a couple of fastest laps in a row. As soon as I pitted for the hard compound tyres, and I dropped my wing down to 41 on the front wing, it just transformed the car. I had no overheating issues on the hard tyres, and the car just felt so much better to drive. It was a massive, massive difference that was key to winning the race. And eventually, it got to the point where I was around about 2 seconds clear of Norris. Bottas overtook Lando Norris. I missed that overtake in the replay cameras. And Bottas just couldn't close up to me. Obviously, by the end of the race, he was only 0.8 back. But in the final lap, the AIs just dump all of their battery, and they're stupendously fast. But I didn't have any issues, nothing at all. And we comfortably get our first win since the first round of the season back in Bahrain. Wow, it's been a while. Lando Norris, though, finishes in P3 for Ferrari. In the end, he finished 11 seconds off the race win. And I'll tell you what, for a man that's been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons this weekend, he's put himself in the headlines for all the right reasons after the race. Charles Leclerc finishes in P4 for Audi, and he is back in the points for, in Formula 1, really, in general. Oscar Piastri keeping up his consistent run of points in Formula 1. He finishes in 5th for Aston Martin. He's having a really, really good season, considering he was in that Ferrari and got dumped out of it by them. So credit to him. Max Verstappen finishes in 6th for Ferrari. Verstappen's just kind of, finishing in 5th or 6th basically every race at the moment. George Russell finishes in 7th for McLaren. A decent result for him in the end. 17.7 seconds off the race win. But the final 3 places are where it's absolutely crucial in the Constructors' Championship. Pato O'Ward finishes in 8th for Jaguar, and he had an outstanding Grand Prix for Jaguar. He started high up the grid, again thanks to the wet qualifying, shuffling up the grid, but he got himself out of trouble and he just got his foot down and put some great laps in there. Obviously, he couldn't defend against George Russell, but if you look at Mason Wood, who finishes in P9 for BMW, he finished just under 10 seconds clear of Mason Wood, and that's a cracking effort for Pato O'Ward. Mason Wood as well, brilliant drive from him. He got past Van Dorn, he got past Ilott, and managed to get himself into the points. Callum Ilott as well, crucially, got himself a World Championship point thanks to the DNF from Carlos Sainz, which does mean that Jaguar and BMW get themselves on the board for points. Looking at the second half of the table now, Daniel Ricciardo was 0.8 away from claiming 9th in the Grand Prix. He was so close to getting points, but just couldn't do it in the end. Sergio Perez finishes in 12th for Red Bull, a disappointing race for him. Same with Sam, of course, the man that's top of the championship at the moment. Unfortunately, he started on the back row of the grid and could only get back up to 13th in the end. It's not a good race for Sam, one that he'll want to forget. Teo Porcher with 14th for Aston Martin. It's not a great race for him, neither is it for my teammate Lewis Hamilton. Again, another driver that started last, I believe, and he only managed to finish 15th. But you saw in the first stint when he got overtaken by Sam, something just looked wrong because he just fell back so quickly in 2 corners. I wonder if he got damage to his side pod or floor or something like that. Nick De Vries unfortunately couldn't do what his teammate Charles Leclerc could do and get points. It's 16th for him. Pierre Gasly finishes in 17th, and Van Dorn, after that issue where he got overtaken in the points, just completely capitulated and fell right down the order, down to P18 in the end, and finished way off. He obviously had some issues that he was running with, and unfortunately for Porsche, it's the worst possible weekend they could have. They started to find a little bit of an upturn in fortune with that upgrade package that they brought to Melbourne, and they were starting to score some points. But today, they get absolutely nothing. It's a double DNF for them, and a lot of investigations are going to be needed as to how they let that happen. But let's go and see now how that has changed things in the Drivers' Championship, because it very much has after this race, and Sam is no longer the World Drivers' Championship leader. That goes to Red Bull's Valtteri Bottas. He now leads the Drivers' Championship for Red Bull. He's on 116 points, and he is definitely having the best season of his career so far. Meanwhile, we are jumped up to second in the championship. We're now on 109 points and only 7 points behind Bottas now in the championship. Sam is third for McLaren. He's on 99 points. He's obviously didn't get any points here today, but he's only 17 points off the top of the championship, and you can see how quickly things can swing in somebody's favour. So on this occasion, it's not good, but it could have been worse. Max Verstappen is fourth for Ferrari. He is on 79 points, 37 points off the championship lead. Oscar Piastri is fifth on 61 points with a 55-point deficit at the top. Lando Norris continues his upturn in performance. He is now sixth in the championship on 56 points, and he's jumped in front of Russell and Hamilton. Russell on 52 points, only 4 points back. Hamilton, with no points here today, is on 43 points. The man that won the Drivers' Championship last season for us in the Mercedes team is really having a difficult season this season. Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez, they also didn't score any points, so they stay exactly where they are compared to last race, should I say. But nobody else below them was able to accumulate enough points to usurp them in the top 10 in the championship. The next round for us is the F1 Journey Dutch Grand Prix. Taking a look at the Constructors' Championship now, and things at the top of the Constructors' Championship just got that much more closer, because the top 4 teams of Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull and Ferrari, not in all that order because I did it the wrong way, are all separated now by, if my maths is correct, 18 points at the top of the championship between those 4 teams. One bad race for any of those teams could see them drop 1, 2, maybe even 3 places, and the Constructors is getting that close. McLaren are top of the championship with 153 points, with Mercedes second on 152. We've closed that gap now to McLaren to just 1 singular point. Red Bull are on 140 points. They sit just 13 points behind McLaren at the top, and they are 12 points behind us in second place. Ferrari are fourth in the championship with 135 points. Again, they're only 5 points now behind Red Bull. They actually scored more points than Red Bull this weekend and have closed that gap, so good on them for doing that. Aston Martin are on 70 points, and they've put a little bit of breathing space between themselves and Porsche now. Of course, Porsche had started to just eke into Aston Martin's constructors' advantage ever so slightly, but on this occasion now, Porsche are, well, with their double DNF and Aston getting points with Oscar Piastri, it's very much just, well, giving them that breathing room. Audi have moved up to 16 points now in the championship, thanks to those crucial 12 points from Charles Leclerc. And at the bottom of the championship now, you can see that Jaguar picked up 5 points in Singapore, BMW picked up 2 points in Singapore, Renault did not pick up a single point, meaning that Jaguar move up to 8th, BMW go up to 9th, and Renault drop down to rock bottom of the Constructors' Championship. But that is it for the Singapore Grand Prix, so let's get straight into the post-race notebook now, see what the teams and drivers had to say after this Grand Prix. And as we look into the post-race notebook now after this F1 Journey Singapore Grand Prix, it was Tom that took victory here in Singapore. Valtteri Bottas finishes second. He tried his best in the second stint to try and catch up to the Mercedes driver, but it was not to be. And Lando Norris gets himself another podium with P3. Charles Leclerc just missing out for Audi in P4. Despite the race win here this weekend, Toto Wolff has said that Mercedes-Benz still made way too many mistakes this weekend that very nearly cost them an opportunity here at Singapore. The first issue that they made is that they put their setup too much towards the wet weather conditions rather than the dry conditions. Obviously, Mercedes were able to get pole thanks to Tom due to their setup suiting the wet weather conditions. But when it came to the race itself, Mercedes had all their forecast simulations looking at a wet Grand Prix. That was not the case, and it stayed dry all race long, meaning that in the first stint, Tom was put under severe pressure from Oscar Piastri and Valtteri Bottas. In the second stint, however, Mercedes were able to react correctly in the strategy by being able to take some downforce off of the front wing, that is, the most that they could actually do, and it was able to make a difference. Toto Wolff praised Tom's drive after coming through a difficult race weekend. Charles Leclerc said that he owed Audi this great result here in Singapore. It's been a rough week for Charles Leclerc and for Audi, with tensions pretty high after Charles Leclerc's Instagram issues. But here this weekend, Charles Leclerc didn't put a foot wrong. He qualified well in the wet weather conditions, got the strategy right by pitting a little bit earlier than the rest of the field to jump up into P4, and tried to challenge Lando Norris in the Ferrari, but just didn't have enough pace in the end to do so. But he was proud of his drive, and like he said, he owed it to them on this occasion. And finally, Porsche. Well, they had an absolutely horrific race weekend. A double DNF with an engine failure for Reese and a mechanical issue for Carlos Sainz, and they've admitted that this weekend cannot happen again if they are to try and get back to the top of the field. Of course, Porsche are enduring a very difficult season, and while they looked to be on the up, it just goes to show that there's plenty more bumps that will be in the road for when it comes to their journey back to the top. But that is it for the F1 Journey Singapore Grand Prix. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please, like I said, drop it a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well, and I'll catch you guys next time around for the Dutch Grand Prix. Until then, I'll see you then. Take care all. Peace.